Hello and welcome to the Pinfall podcast. I'm your host, Elizabeth, and I'm joined today. Hold on. I accidentally left the Twitch stream open because I was listening to the music, and that scared me. Anyways. And I am joined as always by my favorite co-host. Co-host with the co-most. Mark.
Howdy. I'm repping some UPF merch. Go to markcameron.live, buy some UPF merch yourself. Anyway, now that I got that out of my system.
Should have introduced you as Mark Manfred because you've become a shill.
Yeah.
So, I personally always like to call the Friday editions of this podcast as the You Don't Have to Watch Smackdown because we did it for you podcast. And I think tonight you might be thankful. I say that every Friday, but I think I'm really not sure, honestly.
I don't know.
I'm not sure how I felt about tonight.
I thought today was good. A little corny, but the Thunderdome was definitely a little cringy, not gonna lie. Everyone looked bored in the stands.
It basically, I felt like this is what, the hacker inside of a Zoom meeting looks like. He's just, watching everyone talk.
Mm-hmm.
It's 50 people. Your cameras are not on, but it is on for the hacker because he's stealing all your information. So, yeah. I didn't vibe with it quite so much. I'm hoping that for SummerSlam, maybe it's, a little more enthusiastic.
Yeah.
Which literally just means somebody has to clap. It's not asking for too much.
And also, real quick, stay tuned till the end of the show, where we'll give our predictions for SummerSlam, as well as one final prediction for NXT TakeOver that was just announced yesterday.
Easy prediction. If you don't make it, you're silly. So do you just want do you want to jump into the news?
No.
Okay. Want to talk about sports? Other sports?
No. You want to just end the podcast?
Yeah, let's go home.
Okay.
I mean to bed. Anyways, so I'm moving on to news now.
Okay.
Can't stop me.
Okay.
Also, I put it up right side way today. First time in 2 weeks that we've had that for Smackdown. Mostly because I don't really know how I felt about tonight. Now, if I could just get the news board up. I want everyone to know, if you stay tuned for the predictions, you will see that I still have not made a predictions slate, if you will.
Also,
because I've been busy.
I also hope everyone knows that Liz is the biggest Corey Graves stan in the whole world.
Don't spread lies like that, honey. Don't spread lies like that. If I could fight one man in this world besides the obvious, it would be him.
Who's the obvious?
I made up a new nickname for him.
Jeff Hardy?
I meant the obvious isn't the one man in the United States that definitely is deserving of a left hook.
Velveteen Dream.
Okay, I don't want to go down the list. So, news. Ready for the news? I talked to you about the news. I'm dying to talk to you about the news all day.
You've asked me this once already. And I already said no.
I'm going to keep going then.
Okay.
So first of all, Stephanie McMahon stated the obvious. She does a great job of that. Said that the WWE doesn't have enough female writers. Which is interesting, WWE, because I applied to be a female writer. Got hired as a writer at a different place, but I applied. You know. So now.
Didn't you?
Yeah, so she... Anyways, instead of promoting myself, so she said that. And it kind of just was met with a... Yeah. It's almost like your dad runs the company.
Yeah. So that's the news.
No, so I'm gonna save my SummerSlam news because I've got 2 pieces of that for the end. However, Seth Rollins released an update about Austin Theory, whom we have not seen since, I believe, June 17th. Now, in wrestling time, that's at least 3 storylines. Unless you're Bayley and Sasha, then it's one continuous storyline. However, Seth said that Austin has been gone because he had some personal issues that came up. And he essentially did not say, like, oh, well, we're expecting to see him soon, or anything like that. He just said, we wish him the best.
Mm-hmm.
So, personal issues having come up at the same time as he was called out for essentially Velveteen Dreaming himself. Not the best.
Yeah.
I hide all my news from you for the whole day so that you have something to say.
Well, look, okay, so first I was wondering why Seth Rollins was the one announcing or saying this, but then I realized, okay, it's kayfabe. It's kayfabing his disappearance. It's Seth Rollins the character saying it, not Seth Rollins the person.
As the person who read the article, it was not kayfabe. It was very much a person trying to save face. The only reason Seth is talking about it is because he was part of Seth's stable.
Still, I feel like if anyone should be explaining the situation, it should be like Vince, but we know Vince isn't going to do anything. Yeah. I don't know. I've stopped caring about Austin Theory. Didn't really like him to begin with. Like him even less now.
I'm gonna be honest with you, until I saw this article, I completely forgot about his existence.
Yeah.
Like, first of all, his existence with Andrade and Angel, that has been wiped from my memory in like the most permanent way. But then his existence with Seth and Buddy, I read this and I was like, I had the same reaction. I was like, why is Seth talking about this? And I was like, oh, because they worked together. They were like together. Oh, okay. Yeah. I think the difference between Triple H addressing Velveteen Dream things and Seth addressing Austin Theory things is that it's like, I think Triple H has a much smaller bubble of people to look over.
Mm-hmm.
Whereas, like, I don't expect Stephanie to be like, oh, well, here's the thing. Because just, like, it seems like it's not on her level.
Just have Pat Buck do it.
I hope we see more Pat Buck. I respect that man. If Nia Jax won't, I will. Just Pat. Anyways. So speaking of Raw, there's some big rumors coming out right now that Shane McMahon might get creative control of Raw.
Didn't he already? When they combined the two?
It's right now it's Stephanie.
Oh.
Or rather, Stephanie has been helming it for the meantime, more so than she had been. In like pre-pandemic times.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, so Shane's gonna get creative control. It's looking more and more like, which scares me and yet also just draws me in further because he is a chaotic man. I've watched SmackDown during the Shane McMahon times.
Also, real quick, I only want to bring this up because there's like all the discussion in the chat right now is about the Thunderdome And I just want to bring up one thing. We'll get to talking about the Thunderdome once we start once we start the episode.
Also talk about these hairs. Sorry.
But the audience,
who she is.
The audience sound effects was not coming from the people on the LED screens. They have crowd sound effects because they made a point to tweet saying, "We brought back the what chants during the promos," which everyone hated. Everyone hated those chants, and they said, "Oh, we brought them back."
Right. So we talked about this a little bit during the show. Because I think I made a comment like, "Well, isn't the sound pumped in from?" Or it sounded like it was pumped in from an artificial source, more or less. Yeah. But like, I understand why they wouldn't make the LED screens the only source of audience sound, because that just seems like there's way too much to deal with there between people potentially swearing or saying just something bad. Obviously, it's not going to come from there.
And you have horrible sound quality too that would come from them.
But it just, like, it makes me feel like, okay, so what is... I understand the value of it as, like, oh, there's people sitting in the seats.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't really understand the value of it as, like... I don't know. It's weird to, like, hear the sounds of the crowd, but then, like, look at the crowd. See them all just, like, sitting there, like...
It's because... And I saw somebody posted on Twitter who, like, had the screen, like their screen that they were, like, a part of. They had, like, the screen capture for it. And they have an outline of a person that you need to stay in the whole time. You have to stand, like, sit like this the whole time and can't go out of, like, the outline. Otherwise, I guess you unregister or something. I don't really know how it works, but there was a very clear outline of a person. And there are people also talking about in the chat how, like, the crowds were very quiet. They definitely need to turn up the volume of the crowd noise because you could barely hear any of that. It felt very much like we're still in the performance center.
Especially in the beginning where, like, it felt like it should be pretty audible, since, like, their whole thing was like, this is gonna be just as big as WrestleMania except every goddamn night.
Mm-hmm.
And then, like, they had the whole beginning thing, which we will talk about obviously, but and it was just like every once in a while just like a
yeah. You really only saw people clapping when they were, like, on camera and they could see themselves, so they wanted to wave. That was really it.
I didn't. Yeah. Well, let's not get into Thunderdome right now. Yeah. We have time to get into Thunderdome because there's a lot to say about Thunderdome. Mm-hmm. So I'll go through this relatively quickly. Actually, I definitely will. There's only 2 things left. So I'm sorry. I've had a very long week. So let's start with this. John Cena may have announced he's returning.
Kind of good timing.
So yeah, let me see if I can pull this up while I talk. I believe it was on Instagram. I go on Instagram about twice a year. Unless I'm cooking, which is a different story. So he posted this, which, if my light will, there you go. So that. There's absolutely no context, as you can see. So some people are saying, oh, he's just screwing around with the fans. But also, as of lately, as far as the Firefly Funhouse is concerned, one might wonder. Now, do I know if he's coming back at SummerSlam?
Oh my god, what if he's coming? And Braun is in the Firefly Funhouse now.
We had the it's going through the wall, baby. We had the same thought. Because the moment I said that, I was like, can't see me. You'll never see it coming.
You can't see me.
Listen. I make this bet right now.
Oh no.
You and I, right? Okay.
Eye for an eye?
Yeah.
Oh no.
Eye for an eye is when I go put my glasses on again at the end. If John Cena does not come out at SummerSlam, in some respect, drink. That's a prediction I'm making.
Better write it down.
You'll never see it coming. If he comes out, I'm gonna be so mad I'm gonna have to be drunk. I've spent weeks now just like, when am I never gonna see it coming? Huh? I can see it coming. You're making goddamn promos in front of me.
So
I'm gonna be so mad.
You're gonna say that we're gonna see John Cena. I'm gonna predict we're gonna see Goldberg.
Okay, so you're predicting Goldberg, I'm predicting John Cena. Based on that you'll never see it coming because you can't see John.
Yeah, you can't see Goldberg.
This is where you're going. All right, sure. So there you go. There's the preview to our prediction show at the end of this. I'm so mad right now. Oh my god.
All right, well, let's run through.
I feel like I'm in Limitless. Mine is on Limitless. I'm Bradley Cooper.
We got to run through the rest of the news
because we're at 100% now.
We're almost at the half-hour mark.
I'm firing on all cylinders, baby. Yeah, and then also there's rumors for a WrestleMania title fight already. Hurts me to say this. It does. It really does. So the rumors for the WrestleMania title fight is that Orton's going to win the title at SummerSlam, and then he's going to hold it until WrestleMania. Realistically, not that crazy. And then Edge is going to fight him for it at WrestleMania. Rather not.
You know, where's the source on that? Just so.
It's Wrestle Talk. All my stuff's come from Wrestle Talk tonight.
I think Drew is gonna retain. And it's, again, early preview for my predictions. But I think for Payback, Randy is gonna challenge him again and win it. And then he might hold it till WrestleMania. If that is even true.
I feel like it is, because I feel like they're waiting for Edge to come back, and Edge still has, I think, a couple more months before he's like going to be cleared. In reasonable range to be cleared.
Mm-hmm. Or it's Big E going for the title.
Sure. Honestly. Fine. Also, I just want to put this out here. This is a prolonged prediction. Xavier Woods is not back by next WrestleMania. Giving up hope. Okay? Put that one out there too. You can hold me to it. I'm giving up hope. Podcast canceled. It's just Mark.
So, want to move on?
That's all the news tonight. I genuinely cannot believe I just dang realized what was happening. It is so John Cena coming. And now when he does, I can be like, Vince.
I think it's Goldberg still.
I did see it coming.
I'm going to say Goldberg.
Not John. Folks. We got matches and promos.
So want to talk about Thunderdome?
Oh boy, do I ever. So we started with the way that Smackdown started, talking about Thunderdome ultimately. Folks, we saw Vince McMahon tonight looking as
old,
confused as ever.
Oh.
What are you going for?
I was going to say as old as ever.
It's same difference, honestly. Definitely did not know where he was because they brought him out to Thunderdome and he's like,
He's like, it's not as big as I wanted.
Every week when I'm looking for news articles, I get one that's like, Vince McMahon is in great spirits this week, or Vince McMahon is very unhappy this week. And I'm like,
that's him writing the article. It's Vince McMahon is happy this week.
It feels the same way as like whenever I see an article that's like, President Trump is very unhappy this week about X, Y, and Z, says senior House staff advisor. And I'm like, I don't truly care. Anywho, so as Vince is unveiling the glorious Thunderdome, the Fiend says, fuck it.
We all know why they brought out these two. I think it's pretty obvious why. Not to tease, two as in Bray and Braun.
Oh, okay.
They wanted to show off the nice intro effects at the very start of the show, because Bray has the nicest light show and Braun has the nicest smoke show.
Say one thing about that. I wasn't impressed. The way they hyped it up, they were like, it's going to be like WrestleMania entrances for everyone all the time, constantly 100%, never stopping. It's always going to happen. And I was like, sick. All right, we're going to see some like fanfare. Rockin'. I wasn't blown away in any respect whatsoever by any of it at all. At any single point in this evening. There was never a point that I stopped while I was taking my notes and I was like, hell yeah, that's crazy.
AJ Styles' intro was a lot better this time around than at the Performance Center.
I also feel like the ramp seems shorter.
No, it's definitely longer.
It felt shorter, I guess. Maybe it's because of the way I was like, at the times I was paying attention to the camera angles, but like it just, I don't know. It was not nearly as awe-inspiring as I expected it to be, considering every review I heard or promise I was given from like the WWE staff. Like, just got more LED screens. I was hoping for like a little bit of like some sparklers or something, something jazzy.
We got some sparklers. In a few intros, we got sparklers.
It wasn't what I wanted. I wanted to be blown away. I was told I'd be blown away. I was not blown away in any respect at any point tonight.
Well, I do also
disappointed.
I do also like how they're incorporating the LED panels in the intros. Like you had the Fiend's face across all of the panels during his intro, and you had like with Braun, you had the train wheels on the crowd LED panels too, which that's a really cool addition. But yeah, it's nothing revolutionary. It's nothing like amazing. It's just a little extra layer.
I'm hoping flair. I'm hoping that at SummerSlam it's a little more. You know?
Yeah, because I
think that I feel something.
Well, they're gonna kind of work out the kinks, I guess. Because, I mean, yeah, they're gonna work out the kinks. They're gonna, they're not gonna have like they did today, where they just like have the first like half hour be just showing off the cool intros. And hopefully they increase the volume of the crowd, because that was probably the biggest thing for me.
I want to hear someone yelling as loud as I yelled.
Yeah, and it feels like the Performance Center trainees, how like everything, all the reactions were kind of in sync. You had everyone booing at the same time, everyone cheering at the same time. It's like in a real crowd, it's mixed up.
Right. If they're pumping in crowd noise, then that's what's going to happen. It's the same way like we've been watching baseball. It's the same way where it's like, you know, Yankees and Boston play against each other. There's Boston fans near New York. They can come to the games. It's not going to be like Yankees hit a home run in Yankee Stadium and everyone's cheering. It's not going to be like that. It's not how that works. That's all they can work with.
I can say for sure it'll be better than Extreme Rules and Backlash.
I'm holding you to that.
Maybe better than WrestleMania. Was all of WrestleMania without crowds? Or was that with crowds?
Yes. No, that was without crowds. That was before trainees, post no crowds.
Oh yeah, because you had Drew fight Brock with an empty arena.
It would have been a better fight if it wasn't empty. Sure. But anyways.
That was one last thing. I think like the best thing about the crowd noises isn't necessarily hearing the reactions, at least in my opinion. It basically just adds white noise to everything. Because you can't pinpoint any like special like any emotion coming from them. It's just you hear such a mix of emotions from everyone that it basically comes off as white noise and just adds to the ambiance.
I don't doubt that. Summerslam better blow me away, dude.
Mm-hmm.
Recognize that like moving to the Amway Center is like better for like bringing people like Roman Reigns back, but also at the same time like it's something else. It's got to be something more. So okay, got Vince. He's talking. He doesn't know where he is. Then all the lights go out, and I'm like, Retribution. And Vince said, wait like 2 more minutes. And I said, all right. Bray comes out. And Bray's just kind of staring at Vince, and I was like, oh, is Vince going to the swamp now? He wasn't. Braun comes out. And as they're facing off in the ring, like something's about to happen. Retribution comes out. And for once in our lives, it's the first and last time we see Retribution. But also in a weird way, I was left wanting more. For the first time in Retribution's history on WWE, I was like, is this all there is? Because I think I'm getting to that point again where it's like the Jeff Hardy Elias car crash. I feel like as things slowly stop appearing in episodes as much as they used to, I'm like, oh, we're dropping it all together. And I always like I have trust issues with them now. Like they only bring up Retribution once, and I'm like, don't do this to me. So Retribution is just like standing on the aprons, the 4 sides of the ring, cackling like the hyenas in The Lion King. And Braun and Bray are just kind of staring at each other like they're not there, and they're nodding like, oh, all right, we're gonna deal with this, right? And Bray, or rather, the Fiend. I keep saying Bray. It's the Fiend. The Fiend is essentially like, nope, peace out, baby. And he vanishes, leaving Braun to deal with Retribution. And leaving me to deal with the cringiest shit I have ever seen on SmackDown in my entire life. Which is, Braun's getting pummeled by all 49 members of Retribution.
All 49 children.
Yes. Very confusing as to how that could possibly happen. And half of the men of SmackDown come out hustling like, oh yes, we have to deal with the problem now. And they come in to beat off Retribution, and when it's not enough, they do the same cringy thing that they did with Drew and Bobby, where they're like, we need more guys. And then the other half of SmackDown, including 3 women, count them, 3. Or 4, rather, because Tamina was there too. They'll come out and they're like, oh, we're also going to fight them. And get them out of the ring, and then Braun sends a forearm into Drew Gulak's face, flattening the man. Why, you might ask? It's Braun's problem with Drew. Guess what? We're never going to find out why he did that. He's just chaotic now.
Because he's unhinged. He's a madman. He's out of control.
It's just weird of like an unhinged man to knock someone down, take out another person, slide out of the ring, and walk away. Because usually, if I'm unhinged, anyone within 10 feet of me is going to deal with it. So, I mean, kudos to Braun, I guess. I don't know. It was weird. It was cringy. I didn't like the running out at all. I didn't like that one bit.
Yeah, they're very much going for like a we're all in this together Smackdown thing against Retribution, but it comes off as so cringy. It kind of doesn't do service to everyone's stories. And yeah, it's so corny.
The reason it wasn't even that corny, like when it happened with like Drew and Bobby, was because like the people that ran out were the trainees. What made it cringy was that like the referees were like, "Come on, guys, we gotta stop this." Like that was cringy, but like it was trainees.
Like,
I didn't expect them to be doing anything else besides cheering. I expect literally anyone else involved in SmackDown to be doing something.
why would Corbin run out? Why would AJ Styles run out? Why would
Sheamus run out?
why would Sheamus run out? Why would The Miz and John Morrison run out? You know, it's like, I mean, they were just fighting Braun. Why would they like Braun all of a sudden?
I think like the thing is like it's not about liking or disliking Braun, it's about liking or disliking Retribution. But at the same time, it's like another interesting thing to point out, and I'm not going to make this a whole rant, but the people that were not in the ring, aside from like the people that are not part of SmackDown right now because of the pandemic, were 4 women that had promos / matches minus Naomi tonight. It was weird because I didn't think Sonya was there because they all came running out and I was like, oh, that's everybody. Sonya's not here. Huh?
Sonya wasn't there. It was Tamina you saw.
I mean, no. What I mean is that Sonya wasn't out there, but Sonya was in SmackDown tonight.
Gotcha.
So when I didn't see her running out, I was like, oh, Sonya's not there. Andy wasn't out there. I was like, oh, okay. So I guess this is who we have to see tonight, more or less. Mind you, every other guy that was out there had a match. Or not every other guy, but every guy that had a match tonight was out there too, I think. I don't know. To be fair, it was cringy. I wasn't totally paying attention. Because I don't think Cesaro and Shinsuke were out there, actually.
Yeah.
Which, to be fair, why would they be? They'd probably be sitting in backstage just like...
I mean, to be fair, why was Corbin out there? I just had a thought that... Oh, yeah. I feel like this whole Retribution thing would be a lot better if it wasn't just them chaotically fighting everything. Like, they should have come out and attacked Vince, try and take over WWE rather than just like, we're gonna take over WWE, but just by punching everybody. No, you take out WWE.
We just want to be the fighters.
You take out WWE by taking out an old man who's not capable of fighting back. That's how you do it. Not by fighting Braun Strowman, the largest man in the world.
Before we make this a 4-hour podcast, let me jump into the next part because it still doesn't get better.
Mm-hmm.
There's no escaping tonight. So they've cleared Retribution from the ring. Yay! Everyone that came out to fight is now prowling around the ring like security, but like it wasn't good. Sheamus is in the ring somehow arguing with Big E. Why? Who knows? Because they announced that they were fighting today or yesterday. So they're arguing in the ring. And then the bell rings, and I guess that's how we start the fight tonight. So Sheamus gets Big E in the corner. Big E gets a headlock on Sheamus. Sheamus powers out and sends knees into E's jaw. Get it? That's funny. Okay. Big E sends Sheamus out of the ring and then slams him into the steel steps with a shoulder tackle. He manages to get him back in the ring just barely, so that his head's kind of just against the apron while the rest of his body is in the ring. Begins punching his chest right before, more or less, frog splashing upon him against the top of the apron. It was looking pretty good, and then Sheamus managed to pull off a flying clothesline off the top ropes. Did what he normally does, which is his backbreaker. He managed the backbreaker on Big E. He said, "That's not going to stop me because I'm a big man." And does a belly to belly suplex from. I love reading off my notes. It goes so well. He does a belly to belly suplex, and then once again frog splashes him. Sheamus is about to go for the brogue kick, but he catches him and sends him directly into the mat. They kind of exchange blows for a while. He tries to spear him. Sheamus manages to block with an elbow. Sheamus is looking like he's about to win. Then the camera says, "Hey, we did this to Mickie James, now we have to make it look normal." So they cut to something else that's happening outside of the ring, which is Corbin just out of nowhere, like a goddamn cat, just punches Matt Riddle. He just comes up and he's like, yeet. And Matt Riddle falls down, and then there's a whole scuffle happening outside of the ring, and Sheamus, the seasoned veteran, is like, that's annoying. So he tries to kick them gently through the ropes with one foot, just like, get out. And this distracts him enough that Big E manages to roll him up and pin him. Like, the lack of provocation from Matt Riddle to Corbin. Corbin straight up just came up to him and just punched him.
You know what it takes to be the best wrestler in WWE right now? To ignore distraction.
You're not wrong. Just... What happened? I'm just sitting there like...
I mean, even without the distraction win and Big E taking advantage of it, this match was pretty underwhelming. Nobody was really looking good. It was very much just a meat slapping meat match, as was already said in the chat.
Glad you didn't just come up with that on your own.
Yeah, it wasn't anything like amazing. And I don't think any of the fights today were amazing. There was one that had good concept. But
oh, we are about to get into the worst fight of the night. Actually, rather, the worst fight of the night. If there was an award for that, the person in the next, yeah. Yeah.
I feel so bad because he was probably having a very off night.
I don't know what was happening. Let's jump through the promos real quick. So in a very much, if you blinked, you missed it. Jeff Hardy is injured now. He's sitting on a trainer's table and he's like, my knee, I'm so sad. Oh, it hurts. Oh. So I'm gonna spoil the surprise for all of you. I'm gonna spoil the surprise. AJ Styles dead-legged Jeff Hardy, and now he's like crying about his knee in a trainer's room. Some of you, specifically Milam, because I think you liked the tweet. If you didn't, let's just pretend. Dead-legged many people in my life. I'm a very chaotic person. Someone's walking in front of me. The impulse is there. I can't stop myself. I'm kind of like a cat with a glass on the edge. I'm like, so I've dead-legged probably too many people. Maybe that's why some people don't like me.
Hold on real quick. Mike just said, did you know Jeff Hardy is a junkie? No pain pills for Jeff. Oh.
So I had a friend I had one friend in middle school.
Was this
or
about
high
to
school.
tell us how she bullied a friend in middle school?
I had a very good friend in high school. And we were screwing around. We were walking through Home Depot. I don't know what we were looking for, but we were walking through Home Depot. And if you remember, Home Depot has cement floors. Anyone remembers being in a Home Depot before the pandemic? It has cement floors 9 times out of 10. This friend was walking in front of me, and I said, holy shit, this is the moment I have been waiting for, boys. I had a clear angle. They were walking in front of me for a couple steps. I was like, oh yeah, okay. Getting in there. And just Shazam. I kicked them in the back of the leg. They fell to the ground on the cement floor. They laughed. They yelled at me. And we moved on. Jeff Hardy got dead-legged on a foam pad.
And broke his knee.
Yeah, I mean, maybe he's also old as hell, so maybe that's what it is,
He has
I guess.
glass bones
he's not
and
that
paper
old.
skin.
Yeah, so I'm just saying that, like, as a professional dead-legger, I just know that wouldn't have hurt you.
What we're missing, the small little detail we're missing is that AJ Styles hit him with a kayfabe dead leg. It's his secret signature move that can automatically cause a crippling injury to anyone it hits.
I see. Okay. I didn't see that stipulation on the trading card. Now that I'm knowing this helps. So in spite of Jeff Hardy's injured knee, we then move on to a promo with Lucha House Party, simply vibing. Cesaro and Shinsuke attacked them. It would have been a non-promo, essentially, until Cesaro did
a
stupid reference to the Uno games that he plays on Up, Up, Down, Down. He mentioned that he did it last week, and I remember that he did it. I just don't remember what it was now. However, he did it tonight, and I was like, mostly because I just watched the newest episode where they do it like 14 different times.
Mm-hmm.
I was really late to watching it. I watched it last night, and now he's doing it. I'm like, don't like this cross branding, mostly because I don't get to see you hanging out with Xavier.
So, do you want to get into the most embarrassing match for one person in particular? Specifically, God. Vince said, fuck you to this one person. To you specifically. Even though it wasn't Vince's fault.
I don't know. Okay, so I don't know what happened tonight. We'll get into it right now. So they fought, Cesaro and Shinsuke fought Lucha House Party, specifically Lindsay and Gran Metalik. I don't really know if Kalisto's completely clear to fight yet. I think that he's cleared to be out there. He still is not participating in fights, so I think they're holding off on...
Because he attacked Cesaro and did the weird move, like the weird move where he got in his shoulders and everything.
More so, what I mean is, I don't know if he's cleared to a prolonged fight.
Okay.
As opposed to doing a couple of moves here and there. So, okay. We'll find out who we're talking about in about 3 seconds, okay? Let me just jump through these first 3 notes, right? So, Shinsuke's in first. He knees Gran Metalik in the torso, the midsection, if you will. Gets Cesaro in. Cesaro drops an elbow into Gran Metalik's chest. Then Gran Metalik does a... If this wasn't messed up, it was cool. Because I think it was messed up, it wasn't cool. Tries to do a head scissors. Cesaro basically, like... You know in basketball movies where they're, like, throwing the ball around their waist, like, boom, 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 you know? That's what it looked like, except it was Grand Metalik instead of a basketball.
Yeah.
And then he managed the head scissors.
It was like, it was like Grand Metalik kind of had his legs here, like not fully like around his head. They were kind of spaced out, went forward, and then Cesaro went forward. So
Are you thinking about the Hurricane Rana
no,
right now?
no, because it happened both times.
Okay. So you, one way or the other, whether the additional rotations were intended, it looked weird. It just didn't look right. Like the beats of the move did not make sense. It's like sort of like when like a song is like screwed up by like one note, and you're like, all right. So he kind of tries to go forward again, but this time Cesaro counters it, power bombs him into the canvas. The Morrison are watching. They call them Shinsuke and the Swiss lunch board, which I thought was kind of funny. That's why I made the note. I made the note for that one reason alone.
But then when we transition back match, oh, do you want me to not get there yet? You still have a little more?
I don't know where you're going yet.
Remember at the end of Miz and John Morrison reaction, they kind of transitioned back to the match.
Oh, yes, I'm about to go into that.
Okay.
I am literally there. Yeah, so at the end of this Miz and Morrison watching from backstage, they cut away from Miz and Morrison and then re-enlarge the screen, but in a way that you miss what's happening in the fight too.
It's like they do a full screen transition away from the Miz and Morrison, even though the Miz and Morrison were just in a screen in the bottom left corner. They did a full screen transition, so you missed a move Cesaro did. I think you missed a power bomb he did.
I got the power bomb.
Huh?
Got the power bomb.
No, he did a power bomb, which is the move that the transition happened during.
Oh, no. Okay, so you didn't let me finish my note. That's why I didn't get to the power bomb.
I'm sorry, I thought this was a two-person podcast.
I know, but you told me to finish my note because I said I was there.
Sorry.
It's okay. I appreciate your addition. As my co-host, you have every right to talk like that. But yes, Cesaro does powerbomb. And then dumps his heels into like his chest. Which looked painful. Then Shinsuke's back in. Shinsuke and Cesaro team up to kick Grand Metalik. Shinsuke knocks Lindsay off the corner, gets Cesaro back in. Cesaro goes something on the ropes. It wasn't very clear what he was trying to do. And Grand Metalik punches him. Then we get to botched move number 2.
Oh, man.
Which was the bizarre Hurricane Rana that Grand Metalik tried to do. I did not understand it. At all.
So, yeah, he tries to do the Hurricane Rana. He, like, bends backwards, you know, tries to, like, fling Cesaro with his legs. But, like, he has his legs on Cesaro's shoulders, but they're way too wide to grab anything. But luckily, yeah, Cesaro, like, all of these botched moves were on him. And he managed to save all of them. He managed to sell all of them real well still. And, you know, continue on. But it just... Grand Metalik, what's going on with you today?
It was weird. And it got weirder. So Cesaro manages to tag Shinsuke in, and then Lindsay is tagged in as well. Lindsay super kicks Shinsuke, goes for his triple moonsault. He covers, but Cesaro interferes. So then Cesaro's on the side of the ring, And Grand Metalik goes for another head scissors.
Jumping off the top rope.
Cesaro, it looked like Cesaro had to quite literally throw himself. And, like, I know that it is required that the impacted throws themselves a bit for, like, the loft.
Yeah.
But it looked like what Grand Metalik was doing tonight had no effect on him, and he was like, shit, okay, I guess I gotta do this now.
Yeah,
and
it looked like
flat on his back.
Yeah, he like jumped off the ropes, fell straight past Cesaro with his legs straight up in the air, and just landed like boom right on his back. And then Cesaro was just like, "Ooh, okay."
Yeah, he was like, "Okay, I guess I gotta go with him." So Cesaro gets back in after all of this, and he tries to do a sunset flip to Lindsay. Lindsay counters, tries to roll Cesaro up. It's not useful. Cesaro kicks out. Cesaro then reverses a move from Lindsay, rolls him up for the pin. And then Smackdown said, "Hey, I know you're having a good time. Let's stop that right now." And then we get Lucha House Party arguing. Kalisto decides that it's Lindsay's fault that they lost, which, frankly, Kalisto, if you were watching the goddamn match, you would have known whose fault it was.
I think this is their way of getting Kalisto back fighting. He's probably gonna think, you guys aren't good enough to do it, so let me jump in. It'll be him, maybe Grand Metalik, if Grand Metalik is still alive. Or they do more singles stuff. Like, not separated from the tag team, but rather individually, like, kind of like how the New Day was kind of doing. Like when Kofi had the WWE Championship, kind of that kind of single stuff.
It just feels like they're trying to tear them apart, and I'm like,
no.
if I get Lucha House Party falling apart before I get Bayley and Sasha, we're gonna have problems, folks. We're gonna have problems.
Also, Mike, yes, that is racist. That is. He said merge them all with Santos Escobar. Mike said that.
Okay, on that note, I have to go grab something from my bag behind me. Can you do a list real quick?
I will do a list of all of my favorite luchadors. We'll start number one, no. Aleister Black. Number 2, Humberto Carrillo. Number 3, Vince McMahon. Number 4, Shane McMahon. Number 5, Rey Mysterio. Number 6, Dominic Mysterio. Number 7, Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson. Number 8, Han Solo. Number 9, Lince Dorado. Number 10, what's the other one's name? Why am I blank? AJ Styles. And that's my top 10 luchadors.
Hi, I'm back. Did you all see me crawl across my bed?
Everyone did.
Good.
Do you want to hear
something? It was not my bag.
Do you want to hear my top 10 luchadors? I just recited it for everyone.
Okay, yeah.
Number 1, Aleister Black.
Okay.
Number 2, Humberto Carrillo.
Okay.
Number 3, Vince McMahon.
Is this as far as the list goes?
No, number 4, Rey Mysterio.
Okay.
Number 5, Dominic.
Okay.
Number 6, Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson.
Oh no.
Number 7, Lince Dorado.
Just want to know what he looks like without a mask on.
Number 8, Han Solo. Number 9, who did I say?
You really get to number 9?
No, because 10 was AJ Styles. I forget who number 9 was. Probably Jeff Hardy or something. He was The Rock was number 6, or yeah, he was number 6.
Okay. So after this, we get AJ Styles. We get the replay of him dead-legging Jeff. Then AJ's just talking shit backstage. He runs into Bailey and Sasha, who are also backstage. That's it. And then we go to Mandy, who's also backstage. And she makes a whole speech about how she really believes that Sonya is a good person deep down inside. And I was like, oh boy, this has been a rough week. It's been a hard week. Yeah.
Can I just say, I like how AJ Styles is one of the few male wrestlers with long hair who doesn't, like, douse it in conditioner. It's got a nice fluff to it. Looks soft.
Yeah, it does. Looks like blown dried. Blown out, if you will.
Yeah.
Okay. So we move on to Sasha and Bailey coming out. And they come out
With Corey Graves.
and Corey Graves is out there too.
Liz's favorite commentator.
Fun. As I have politely begun to call him, Poor Bore. You know why? Because he's boring as shit. I cannot stand him. I wanna fight him. I want to fight him so bad. He 100% could take up this offer too, because like I can't fight. I'm just gonna slap and like claw like a child. There's something about him that just makes me like, I want to fight you, dude. I ask for very little in this life. Drives me insane.
So glad you're not watching the stream right now.
Me?
Yeah.
Wait, what?
Nothing. Just keep going.
Like I think that Corey's tattoos look like those like tattoo sleeves that like 50-year-old men buy, so they look cool. I'm speaking from experience. My father has one. They buy them and like it's like a sheer sleeve that you can pull up, so it looks like you got a tattoo on. That's what I think of them. That's what I think they look like. I can't stand the man. Can't stand the man. Can't stand ya.
All right.
That's a Seinfeld reference. Anyways. He asks the hard-hitting questions, folks. He asks Sasha and Bailey right off the bat. Step 1. We got Lester Holt in the room tonight. He just straight up goes in and says, are you two splitting up? They're like, oh, we aren't. You haven't tricked us into anything yet. There's no reason why we would say yes. I would know. I've taken so many journalism classes. There's no reason for him to ask that question from the get-go. Where was the lead up? There's no lead. Anyways, so he asks that question. They're like, no, of course not. And then he makes a comment about how Bailey... Didn't Bailey originally say she was going to fight first? No, Sasha was going to. He makes a comment about Sasha fighting first, and he's like, oh, kind of like, she's fighting Asuka first, like, that means that you're going to get, like, a tired version of Asuka to fight. And Sasha's like, wait, I never thought of it that way, fuck. So Corey is just kind of stirring the pot, I guess. And Naomi comes out. I don't know why. If you know why. No. I don't know why she came out. Outside of the obvious, like, what this led up to.
Because we need to have a third woman. And there's no one else who's not busy.
At this point, just bring Mickie James out, dude. Give her some shot at, like, some attention that's not interfered by Seth Rollins. Anyways.
Just have Corey Graves wrestle them.
He's had 2 concussions. He can't. Sorry, I don't know what happened to my voice there. I've been talking too quietly for too long. It wasn't even like my voice cracked. My voice like broke. So yeah, Naomi comes out and Corey suggests beat the clock challenge where they have to someone has to pin Naomi and then the other person has to do it in the same amount of time. I'm sure everyone watching this knows what it is. We're still relatively new to this whole gambit. When Naomi says, haha, double drop kick to Bayley and Sasha. And they're just flattened. Pretty late. I was okay with that. I was perfectly fine with that. Because normally I feel like we see like a team drop kick where it's like 2 people drop kicking 1 person. She just straight up drop kicked them 1 foot to 1 face each. I love that. And then that brings us into our Beat the Clock challenge. I also want to make a point that like tonight's episode of Smackdown, I personally feel like it felt like 5 years, but also it felt like it lasted for 5 seconds. And I don't know how to explain that, but like
it definitely I know it definitely lasted 5 seconds for me because I looked at the clock and it was suddenly 9:30. I'm like, where did an hour and a half go by?
Yeah.
This podcast is probably gonna be longer than the show.
It definitely will be. So we start off, Sasha's in first. Naomi gives a full Nelson to Sasha. It's a waist lock on her and does multiple attempts to pin. And normally, I know you've said this, I've kind of started to feel this way. I'm not a big fan of like a bajillion and 9 pins or attempts to pin in one covers. How's that? Covers. I'm not a fan of a million of those in one match. But I enjoyed this. I don't know why. I don't know what was the difference here, but I enjoyed it.
Because I guess it was like a race against the clock, so you kind of felt that desperation.
And I think it was also just the way that she was pinning her with the waist lock.
Yeah.
I think that also contributed to it because I was like, that's not something we see every day. Plus, also, I do want to make a point. As much as we've complained about women's wrestling in WWE as of lately, this was a good-ass match for 3 women. I really enjoyed it.
And there hasn't been a Beat the Clock challenge since March 2019, so...
Really? Is that rare?
And then the one before that wasn't since 2017.
Okay. All right. So I really don't do this often. Sasha is doing her best, but every attempt that she makes to cover on Naomi is met with a kick out. She tries for a headlock. Ultimately, Naomi goes off the top ropes to Sasha, covers, kicks. She roundhouses her. She tries to go up to the top rope, but Sasha pulls her down and exacts the bank statement on her, forcing Naomi to tap out at 3 minutes and 39 seconds. And the Bayley's in. She tries her best. She goes off. She's punching, she's kicking, she's doing whatever she can to tire Naomi out, who's already relatively tired. So she suplexes Naomi, which is really one of her specialties at this point. Throws her to the corner. And then does a running arm to her, but Naomi kicks her. Sends her head into the second buckle. Bayley clotheslines Naomi. Naomi sentons Bayley. Beats her down. She is pinned. Naomi has won within about half the time that it took Sasha to beat her. So now Bayley's going first at SummerSlam. On top of that, Asuka comes out. Bayley's like dead in the ring. Asuka comes out. Sasha goes to like attack her because she's tired of pretending to feel bad about Bayley losing the way she did. Asuka comes out and Sasha runs up to her, goes to attack. Knee right to the face from Asuka. She's knocked out. Asuka runs into the ring and says, well, Bayley might be about dead, but I'm still gonna take my turn. Knee to Bayley's face. Hits her against the ropes, is punching her. Bayley manages to get out of the ring and saves herself and her belts first. I just want to say, if I get what I've wanted the past several months, in the next week.
Not even that. It's in 2 days.
Well, I'm offering room for payback. The full explosion.
People are like, WWE is making it out to be like, oh, whoever goes first is gonna win or is gonna lose. Second person is gonna win because Asuka's gonna be tired. No, you know what? Bayley's going first. I think Bayley's gonna win. After no help from Sasha, and then she's gonna actively try and help Asuka against Sasha. Try and pull Sasha off of Asuka, or something like that.
That would be fun. That would be fun going into Payback.
Yeah, and plus it puts their whole intervening stuff to use.
Like I said a million times during this match, during Backlash especially, I watched about 40 million videos that were kind of like doing predictions for Backlash, and Bayley and Sasha were involved. So they were like, "Oh, I don't think that Bayley and Sasha are gonna break up yet. I think they're gonna wait for that for SummerSlam." I was like, "All right, I'll hold off." Now SummerSlam is here, and we got to like the 12th hour, and I was like, "They're not breaking up. They're not breaking up yet." But tonight said otherwise.
Mm-hmm.
And frankly, I've been waiting since Backlash for this to happen. So what I mean is, if this does not happen in the next 7 days, oh my Lanta.
You want to move on to Sonya?
I suppose. I love her so much. All right.
I think you should be happy about this.
So we have 2 Sonya promos. The first one is backstage. Sonya is simply vibing, looking amazing in a suit, as she always does.
Nice burgundy suit.
Yeah, she looked good. I've seen men try to pull off the burgundy on black before. Doesn't work. Sonya? Mm-hmm. All right. Dana Brooke comes up to her. Immediately, I was like, Dana's like, "I'm so sorry for everything you went through this week." Blah, 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 blah. I was like, oh God, are we doing another Jeff Hardy here? Like, I really don't want to see this. Like, not with this, especially. Sonya says, slaps the shit out of Dana. And I loved it. I loved every second of it, which makes up for the fact that I hated every second of the next thing.
What?
Sonya, after there was a commercial break, after the commercial break, Sonya comes out and she's talking into the mic. She's basically saying like, "Oh, Mandy, like you said in your promo, like you still think I'm good. Like, what is it gonna take for you to realize that like what after I cut your hair, that was not what it took to like make you understand that I do not care for you at this hour. What is it gonna take? And then decides, okay, a hair versus hair match is not enough because I literally don't care if I'm bald. Instead, it's an I Quit match. So loser leaves WWE forever.
I mean, it's already been mentioned in chat, but she could be using this as like a way to kind of take a break from WWE because of recent events.
But I don't want it. I love Sonya. She's my dark-haired babe.
You can't imagine Mandy leaving it all because Otis and their storyline.
I want her to go.
Or this is kind of a good reason to stop that storyline if Mandy leaves. I don't know.
I'm gonna be really honest. If Sonya loses, I am coming onto the podcast with some puffy eyes because my heart's gonna be broken. That is my dark-haired bitch. She's straight up like, because I love the whole like, I love her whole gimmick as of late, where it's like, you got here for no good reason, and whether that's true or not, I don't really know. I don't really care about Mandy. I just have to support my dark-haired ladies. I have to go up against blondes every other day. They're far more interesting. Joke. But also, if that's what gets Sonya to leave the WWE, then I'm...
Mylon brings up a good point. Not necessarily the point that he made, which is still a good point. But he said people seem to think that Otis is going to give up his briefcase to save Mandy. He could do that. Give it to Sonya. Be like, just take this instead. So Sonya can challenge somebody for a title. Sort of appease Sonya rather than, have somebody quit.
My limitless brain is starting again. Bradley Cooper! Oh my god, that opens so many things. Imagine. Oh god. All I know is that if quite literally this match does end in Sonya leaving for an extended period of time.
Sonya beats Keith Lee for the title.
Shit.
Sonya beats Drew McIntyre.
Fine. You know what? Again, it'd be like Drew McIntyre versus Randy. I'm not going to be able to handle it. I don't care who wins. Sort of kidding, actually, in terms of SummerSlam.
Sonya beats Jeff Hardy.
I want to talk about, though. That I would 100% be there for. I would sit back. I would say, you do you, boo-boo. And then when he swan dives off of her, but she moves, he goes ass first into the canvas, I'll be like, the surgeon's getting another vacation, I hear.
So, do you want to move into the Nikki Cross promo?
Yes, but before that happens, we have to rewatch Braun yeeting Alexa Bliss into the canvas. Didn't like it, didn't love it, didn't care for it. Hurt my feelings a lot. And then we do go over to Nikki Cross, who's saying that Alexa is different and she's just not as funny and warm and like loving as she normally was, which further hurt my feelings. It's really just her best friend saying like she's weird now, because I guarantee you at SummerSlam we are going to see Sister Abigail, aka Alexa Bliss, in Sting makeup. That's my prediction. Then we have AJ Styles versus Jeff Hardy. Do you remember what this was for? Do you remember what title this was for?
Wait, it's Intercontinental title.
Thank you.
I hope I completely peaked and you didn't hear anything I said.
I heard Intercontinental and then the LE from title, I think. So you did pretty well. So Jeff Hardy comes out limping. I also want to just point out that I have also been dead legged multiple times. I have not just bullied people with this, and I've never also had this problem. Again, I'm not a 40-something-year-old man, but in theory, I am.
You ever watch watch a fight on TV, like on TV show, and see two
about 3 times a week.
See two old men like just beating each other? I feel like that's what this was. This was two old men, only one of them being old, but both of them were fighting like old men.
You've seen this episode, I think, because I think I showed it to you. But in Seinfeld, there's an episode where Jerry has to take on 3 separate old men. One is the son, one is the father, one is the son, and one is the son of the son. Every time they're just like, "It's go time," and they bend over, and their back just like cracks out of place, and that's what I felt like the entire time, especially with Jeff. Oh Christ. So Jeff is still. Oh, go on.
Mike just asked, "What shows are you watching?" And I'm like, he said Mark watches old men fights. No, I just looked through the windows of the senior center.
I was gonna say it's a very special pay-per-view channel, but yeah, that too.
I also watched Randy Orton, RKO, Ric Flair, and Shawn Michaels.
And Big Show.
And Christian. And Edge.
Christian's not an old man, he's a soccer dad.
He's an old man.
He's a suburban soccer dad. How dare you? He's 40.
And we'll see him RKO Triple H too.
You know, at this point, fine. Let him. Triple H deserves. Mind you, I also want to just point out, Fire Velveteen Dream was trending.
There's a whole petition.
On my normal... Huh?
There's a petition,
yeah. It was trending on my normal Twitter. Sometimes I'll get like recommended like trending tweets on the Pinfall Twitter because like it's a wrestling Twitter, and that's all we follow. But on my average Twitter, that was trending, and I was like, "Is this not a sign? Is this not a sign for you, Trips, Hunter?" Anyways.
Allegedly.
If you find the petition, sign it.
Make
sure they can't send you emails because you will never escape those emails for the rest of your damn life.
Yeah.
I've signed enough petitions in my lifetime. Oh boy. $10 is never going back to the way it was. So we get a back body drop to Styles, and Styles sends Jeff to the corner. So I need to point something out. I don't know much about the body, right? But Jeff is in the corner. I'm moving my sign. But Jeff is in the corner. And Jeff, throwing his weight on the top ropes, as AJ approaches him, kicks his leggies out. Kicks him straight out. Hit AJ in the face. Now, if anybody has any idea of what it feels like to land or to put impact on your leg when it's straight out so that your knee compresses, I'm sure many people do. It's not a really weird experience. Like if you jump down from something and you don't like bend your legs to absorb the impact, it hurts a little bit. And he does that. AJ Styles' face, he stretches his leggies out, pushing his weight against the ropes and the buckle. Looks into the face, legs are straight out. You know, if I injured my knee by being jet-lagged for some reason, because I'm a weak lad, I think that would just not feel great.
What we
didn't care.
What we didn't see was at the split second that his legs were straight out. We'll say this is Jeff Hardy's leg. Say my arm is his leg. What we didn't see was a very subtle vibration, which was his kneecap exploding.
Ah, yes. Should have known. I should have used my owl sight to sense the movement under the jeans. Or sorry, the cargo pants.
Yeah.
I'll screw that up. AJ Styles targets the knee for the rest of the match because that's a smart thing to do. The announcers were talking the whole time. They were like, "Oh, you don't want to go against AJ if you got an injured body part because AJ's just gonna target the whole thing. He's gonna target it. You're gonna feel pain. Blah 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 blah." I was like, "Yeah, like every other goddamn wrestler." So AJ falls off the apron. Jeff does, however, do more or less the welcome to the ball pit move on AJ, which is what I will continue to call that move for the rest of my damn life. That's all that matters.
Mm-hmm.
He then sends in then Styles manages to do his Pele kick, which is always actually very impressive to me. Even it's called the Pele kick for a reason. I've seen soccer players who can't do it, and AJ Styles is just a wrestler, and he can. So I like seeing that a lot. He managed that against Hardy. Hardy responds with an elbow. He tries to go off the top rope and then slips off, and Jeff Hardy's a great actor. He quite literally slipped off that rope. Kind of impressive the way that he fell and made it look like he fell.
Yeah.
I don't know if you noticed that, but...
No, I didn't notice that.
Again, maybe I'm reading into things, but it just... a little too real. Just the way like his legs were like, fuck, and like his arms were like flapping.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe they teach you how to fall off of things in WWE school. I don't know.
Oh, I'm sure they do.
But save this for later. So Styles goes off the top rope when Jeff is not looking. Jeff, however, manages to turn around time, pulls out a hand to punch him midair. Styles says, "Okay, well, I'm gonna go back to basics." It's a submission hold on the injured leg. Hardy just barely manages to grab the rope. Styles goes for the Styles Clash, but Hardy hits him in the head with the brace on his leg. Sentons onto AJ and pins him to get the title.
And that's the last match of the night.
Yeah, actually it is. There's still one promo. However, Corey Graves did say that there should be an asterisk at the end of this fight, and I thought that he was very much stealing from Mark. So that's another reason to not like Corey Graves. Stealing Mark's gimmick. How do you feel about that?
Yeah. You're still the biggest Corey Graves stan in the world. Can't fight it.
Well, if I could fight him, I would. And then Jeff Hardy got interviewed by Kayla. He got played off.
That was so
like it was
sad.
The Academy Awards. He was in the middle of a sentence and his song came on. And I said, "Oh, that's what they meant by live shows." It hurt. And yet, for me personally, it was the funniest thing I've ever seen. Oh boy. Anyways. Let's move on to our last promo of the night. Because we have to. Now that I'm recapping it, SmackDown was a goddamn mess tonight.
There was another promo before the Braun stuff. There was the AJ Styles one with Abyss.
Oh. Yes. He's complaining that he got hit in the face with Jeff's brace, and that was use of an illegal weapon or illegal item, I guess. I don't know. And now his lip is all busted, and he's got the proof, and he's mad. He's mad. Mm-hmm. Would I be shocked if SummerSlam comes with a pre-show with this? I wouldn't be. But I think that there's a couple options for the pre-show that we haven't discussed yet. But this does seem like a contender in spite of like what's happened tonight. Payback. Shall they move into our last nightmare?
Yes.
Of the night?
Yes.
We got Firefly Funhouse.
Woo!
And boy, oh boy, I look forward to Bray Wyatt saying "Yowie Wowie." It brings me some joy. It's a little bit of serotonin. You pull that logo up. You pull that logo up just a little bit.
I'm just adjusting. You know. Just adjusting my tank top is all.
Just adjusting.
You know, just adjusting. Oof. Oof. Just, you know. There we go. Much more comfortable.
Do you feel adjusted?
Oh, yeah.
You feel adjusted yet?
Okay.
Oh,
yeah.
All right, good. All right. So my sweet little Gemini schmuck, he conducts a retelling of the Braun and Alexa Bliss story with his puppets. One being the pig, I believe the other was the other one the rat? I don't know what that one is.
The pig and the, I don't think it's a rat. It's like, I guess it's a rat.
Yeah, had a wig on.
Whatever. Ferret, rat,
had a wig on either way.
Yeah. Rabbit. It's the rabbit. That's it. The rabbit.
Okay. Oh, yeah. Okay. So he has a theatrical retelling of the Alexa Bliss Braun Strowman story with the pig as Braun and the rabbit as Alexa Bliss, which is actually relatively fair size comparison. He proves himself to be a very harsh director. And then Braun is somehow in the Firefly Funhouse, which Corey Graves specifically notes has been something that they have not been able to find.
He said ever. It's an alternate reality.
And Braun is in it, which confirms my
It confirms my theory that the Fiend is Braun. And Braun is basically leading the Firefly Funhouse.
So I just want to make a point to everyone watching that Mark and I watched this together, and he said, "Oh, this basically confirms my theory." And I thought that he meant it confirms his theory of other Braun. However, I did not realize it was this, and now I am.
Well, other Braun being in reality is part of that theory.
Okay.
And that's the whole reason why he didn't care about Alexa Bliss. He threw Alexa Bliss, why he's basically been a robot, and why he's going to hand the title just to the Fiend.
So, to also add to that theory, we saw in the beginning, right? We saw Braun and Bray looking at each other while Retribution is surrounding them.
Yeah.
They're nodding at each other like, it felt like, oh yeah, we're going to take them on together. Like, other Braun thought that the Fiend was on his side. Because other Braun is not Braun. Because Braun is in the Firefly Funhouse somewhere with John Cena cuddling for warmth. And other Braun thinks that the Fiend is on his side, but the Fiend left him to deal with Retribution alone, which is why he tried to murder Drew Gulak, because he was like, I don't care about you, and then tried to murder the other Uso brother. I believe it is Jimmy or Jay. I don't know. Which one?
It's Jay. Jimmy's out for injury.
Yeah. We can talk about Jay's haircut real quick. Jay needs to cut his hair. Somehow, over the past few months, his hair grew about as much as mine did in the past 6 months. But this makes me think that other Braun and Braun are separate entities at this point, and that Braun is not the one that's gone absolutely out of his goddamn head.
Fiend is Braun right now.
I personally, though, would love to go up to a writer for WWE, for this story specifically, and just be like, I think it's X, Y, and Z, and have them just be like,
They'll like be like writing notes and be like, yeah, no, yeah, we didn't think.
Actually, no, but maybe. So Braun's in Firefly Funhouse, an alternate reality that WWE has not been able to reach lately because, you know, John Cena is still trapped in there doing Experian Boost commercials. Fiend's behest. Then Braun takes Bray from Firefly Funhouse, the backstage loading dock. Also, funny enough, where Crafty is. And all these like refs and like three men in suits. They're all just like, Braun, don't do it. And Braun's just like, ha ha ha. And throws Bray off the loading dock, which would not kill you. Do you want me to finish this before you go into your theory?
Yes. Okay, you know it's a theory too.
I know your face. That's the theory face. So Braun throws Bray off the loading dock. Bray is incapacitated, for lack of a better word. The ambulance is there already because they're like, oh, Braun's loose. We probably should be on standby. They come in, they take Bray, they put him on a stretcher. Ambulance makes it all the way to like the garage doors that open up. And it stops and backs up. And the back doors open and everyone inside the ambulance is gone and the Fiend is there. And that's it felt a bit like, as I mentioned to Mark multiple times, sort of like an E-Boy TikTok, because it was just the Fiend in the camera like I had to sit there through it. And that's what it felt like. I'm sorry, did you see the inside of my mouth?
Gross.
I have a Fiend mask.
So, my theory, and this lines up with everything, okay?
Alright.
So, you remember how, since the swamp match, Bray has been saying he's on the loose. He's out there. But he never directly refers to it as Fiend, as the Fiend. Because what if he's not talking about the Fiend? What if he's talking about Frankenbraun? As in, Braun is on the loose, Bray wants him back. But also, Braun, real Braun, is in the Firefly Funhouse, has been since the swamp match, and has been alternatively taking over as the Fiend. Thus, his attachment to Alexa Bliss, and why Frankenbraun has been so aggressive, as I mentioned before. And they had a fight today. Frankenbraun fought Bray, and then the Fiend emerged. Bray is no longer in control. He technically died, lost control, whatever. And now Braun is fully in control of the Fiend. So now at SummerSlam, we're going to be getting Frankenbraun versus Braun-controlled Fiend. Now with Bray decommissioned. That's basically where my theory goes. And the TV Braun, the Braun we see on the monitor, that's That's real Braun trapped in the Firefly Funhouse.
Right. So the thing that the one problem I have with that, because I didn't have any problems with it up until now, I don't believe that. I believe that Frankenbraun was still the guy that Zoom called us 2 or 3 weeks ago or whatever. Because I think the whole point of Braun saying, I don't care about Alexa Bliss, or Braun, was that is not Braun.
Yeah.
Braun does care about Alexa Bliss. Like, the whole thing with Alexa Bliss and Braun was like, it was very much like a mixed tag, will they, won't they? And it was all fun and games, and then people actually did start thinking like, oh, are they actually dating or no? Now Alexa Bliss is dating someone, so I personally thought like, oh, she's not gonna Lana herself and say I would date him. And this isn't meant in disrespect, but that is ultimately what she did. Because in her interview last week, she was like, someone was like, oh, well, he was like, there was rumors that he was attracted to you. Would you have like wanted to be with him, basically? And she was like, yeah, I mean, I'm not going to say like, I never would have, like, I can't say like no to that. Because the whole point, and I think something that was not kayfabe per se, is that they are friends.
Mm-hmm.
And the whole point was that, like, regardless of whether there was like attraction or not, they were friends. So I feel like the Braun that was like, I don't care about Alexa Bliss, was either real Braun being like, I don't care about her, leave her alone, trying to make her safe, or it was faux Braun being like, why would I care about her? I don't know who the hell that is.
Yeah, I think that's Frankenstein's monster.
I'm not sure. And tonight blurred the lines even more because I'm like, if that's Frankenbraun, it makes sense that he was agreeing with the Fiend. It makes sense that he would try to injure Bray, because Bray was the one who was like, the Fiend is out, and he's mad. Like, you gotta be careful. Like during the Firefly Funhouse after Summer or Extreme Rules, it makes sense that if Frankenbraun is the Fiend's minion, more or less, he would want to get rid of the person that's saying, one, watch out for the Fiend, and two, he would want to get rid of the one person who exercises more control over the Fiend than the Fiend himself. So that makes sense to me. However, I guess my problem with like going with these theories, especially because Braun has done a 180. I don't trust the writers to see that, especially as of late. But it's made more obvious if you were to take Nikki's words about Alexa and put them onto Braun, who up until this point was more or less a gentle giant that was easy to anger, and now has become a sadistic psychopath. If you were to take Nikki's words about Alexa, who used to be warm and loving and funny, and is now just like distant and despondent and cold, or take that and like transpose it onto Braun, it's like, okay, so what did they both have in common? Contact with the Fiend.
Yeah, I think real Braun is trapped in the Firefly Funhouse. We know that for sure. That's real Braun. Fake Braun is a Braun we see outside. The Braun that's been zooming in, the Braun that's been with Alexa. That is Frankenstein's monster Braun. Now, I think Bray and Braun have been kind of working together to stop Frankenstein's monster Braun from destroying everything. The Fiend being controlled by Braun, and then we saw Bray himself. Bray is now incapacitated, leaving just the Fiend controlled by Braun. It's a lot.
I feel like I'm doing like a proof in like geometry.
At the end of the day, they're trying to stop Frankenstein's monster Brawn from unleashing hell.
But can I also just make a point that like nips all of our expectations for the story in the bud?
Mm-hmm.
What if Frankenbrawn was just like a figment of his imagination, of Brawn's imagination, when he went to the swamp, and the writers never expected to go anywhere with it whatsoever? And what we're seeing right now is like their idea of like Brawn just becoming like haywire.
That thought crossed my mind.
Because that's what I expect.
And I hope it's not that. But at the same time, the fact that Bray has never said fiend directly. He's always been very vague about, you know, whoever this is that's out there. Also, Mike said this is all a Jeff Hardy junkie dream.
No!
And they're for some reason people are talking about Velveteen Dream in the chat as a meme. Anyway, do you want to move on to the next segment?
Yes, because we have our promise or our predictions to get through.
Yeah, and I have one prediction to add on to the list we already have, and I think it's a very interesting prediction that we both will have an answer to, whether you think you do or not.
I don't think I do, but sure.
It's one that'll make sense once I say it.
Folks, it's best of the nighttime. Oh boy.
Boy. Let's make the best of the night as swift as possible today.
Yes. Swift. Taylor Swift.
So, promos. I think this is no contest. You got Vince McMahon introducing the Thunderdome, followed by Bray, Braun, Retribution, all that. Then you have Lucha House Party being attacked by Cesaro and Shinsuke. You had the AJ Styles promo. You had the Mandy promo. You had, or rather, interview. You had Sasha and Bayley talking in the ring with Corey. Then Naomi's appearance. Then you had the Sonya interview, and then you had Sonya out in the arena giving the best damn performance of her life, basically killing it on the mic.
Even though she did throw the mic and then break it probably, but that's fine because I'm sure WWE is prepared for that.
They have 50,000 mics.
Makes me so mad every time.
And then after that, we had the promo with Nikki. Then we had the promo with AJ Styles where he's mad. Then we had Firefly Funhouse followed by Firefly Not So Funhouse in the streets. So I know I said this is like straightforward, but I'm torn between two.
I can tell you what I'm voting for.
Torn between Sonya, given the best damn performance of her life, and the backstage brawl. Now, this is tough because the ending of the brawl was a little corny with like the Fiend and everything. Everything's still kind of vague in that sense. They repeated the throw, like the choke slam, like several times. I feel like this is what you're picking.
No.
Okay, so
Dear Lord, you know me better than that.
Okay,
Christ.
so I'm glad I'm going with what I'm gonna go with, and that's Lucha House Party getting attacked backstage. No, it's Sonya Deville upping the stakes.
Me too, Splucha. Yes. I would... Marcus. I just want to put it out there. I said for NXT, I'm going to die on my heels as far as TakeOver goes, as far as my predictions go. I didn't say that for SummerSlam because I have to be in a meeting at 8:30 in the morning. I'm dying on the Sonya Deville hill, if you will. Oh. That was
Sonya
3
Deville
rhymes in a
Hill.
row. That's embarrassing.
Sonya Deville.
Yeah, no, she's my beautiful, beautiful, beautiful princess. I love her so much. I'm so glad that we got to see her tonight. So many nice things I could say. Yeah, no, I love her.
And she is the best performer that SmackDown has, or at least the best female performer that SmackDown has. Maybe even it's been a while since we've seen her fight, but I'll say best promo performer that SmackDown has. She is absolutely amazing. We should do a best dressed fighter.
Like, I'm glad we're dying on the Sonya Deville hill together. And second of all, Milam, you are absolutely right. Maybe we could do that for SummerSlam.
Yeah.
I'll see. Corey Graves is not best dressed ever at all. Not once in his life has he ever been best dressed. There's not one moment of my time watching him that I've ever been like, Corey Graves looks good today.
I think Ridge Holland is the best dressed.
Stand him.
I think Ridge Holland's the best dressed.
If you put Ridge and Sheamus together, like based on like their recent attire, we would have a Peaky Blinders remake, more or less. A just WWE kidding. Peaky Blinders.
Just kidding. Ridge Holland is the worst dressed.
Why do you have to hurt Splucha like that?
Because I'm the heel.
Oh no, am I the Michael Cole then?
No, you're the Byron. Announcer. You're the Byron.
We both like Christmas. You're right. For someone that celebrates Hanukkah, I sure do like Christmas.
All right, fighter of the night.
Yay! Yeah, got a cat in here. I'm trying to pet her so she doesn't bite me.
So I already know what mine's gonna be, but I'm still gonna run through them. Today was not a good wrestlers day. So we started off Sheamus versus Big E. As I already said, this was just meat slapping meat. Nothing super impressive. Big E's looked better. Sheamus has looked better. We saw the worst of these guys today, but not in the worst way possible. It was very much, it's not the fight between these two. We're gonna have another fight between them. It's gonna be better. And I just hope it's soon, because I have been dying for this fight. But if I had to pick someone, it'd probably be Big E, I guess. I don't know. And then we move on to Cesaro and Shinsuke versus Lucha House Party. Poor Grand Metalik. I don't know what happened to you. I don't know what was inside your ears that just threw off your equilibrium. But man, you did not have a good day. I feel so bad. And he probably got so hurt at the very end. But Cesaro was the best one here. The fact that he performed really well, just on his own, performing his own moves, and managed to keep the show alive by selling Grand Metalik's botched moves. There's a reason Cesaro is as amazing as he is. It's because he keeps the show going. He keeps the show alive. And he potentially kept Grand Metalik alive. And then after that, we had Naomi versus Sasha. Now these two fights here, it's gonna be like impossible to pick who's the best out of these, because this was more of a show of desperation rather than performance. I think Naomi in both of these fights was the best, because she wasn't the one desperately trying to pin the other person. She was very much just trying to fight her best. But I also don't think we saw enough of Naomi to really like have her be the top. Even though
he saw the chat, boys. He saw the chat.
I wasn't gonna pick Naomi at all from the start. I think she's the pick of these two fights. But a very close second to Sasha, because Sasha does the best storytelling in her fights out of maybe any wrestler. And then we move on to AJ Styles versus Jeff Hardy, and it's still like I don't want to pick anyone from this fight because both of them looked like garbage. They looked like old men trying to fight over the last packet of hot sauce at Taco Bell. I don't know.
You mean me?
This was a not a good fight. The fact that they had Jeff Hardy going in with an injury and still have him win was kind of dumb in the first place. I fully expected them to have Jeff Hardy lose and basically say, oh, the only reason Jeff Hardy lost to AJ was because he had an injury. It doesn't feel satisfying at all for Jeff Hardy to have won this title in the first place because A, because he was injured, and B, because the fight was like awful in the first place. So I'm not even gonna pick a best of this fight. I'm gonna go with Cesaro as my pick for best fighter of the night. He is one of the best SmackDown has. He is amazing.
What do you have in your eye? What do you have in your eye?
What's she have?
Something in your eye. Oh, it might just be the reflection. That'd be crazy. I felt her whispers on my toes, and I was like, "Oh my god! If she bites my toe, I'm going to freak out." I'm very ticklish. I'm glad you chose that because I was also going to choose Cesaro because Mr. Cesaro does something that I don't know how much you notice it, but he. I'm sorry.
Yeah, I know. Just
now that I've got my glasses on, I can actually see it.
Fight through it.
But one thing Cesaro does really well is he changes the way he counters moves and the way that he fights in response to how his opponent's fighting. It's something that we've seen with Finn a couple times now. Sadly, Finn gets about as much recognition as Cesaro once got, but it's fine. It doesn't bother me at all. I don't feel anything. Anyways. But yeah, no, I really liked how Cesaro was looking tonight. I thought that he spent most of the match in, and he did a great job in spite of the fact that Ramatalik, who was also in for most of the match, looked not so good. And I think it also takes a good wrestler to know that a move is about to be screwed up, which it looked like several of Grand Metalik's moves were, and to still sell them. I think that requires a lot of like extra thinking. So I think because he still made moves look like they hit, I feel like that was a really awesome thing too. In addition to just everything else that he did tonight. So
fight of the night?
Yeah, sure.
Alright. So, start off, Sheamus versus Big E. Fight we've all been waiting for. I was hyped for it since yesterday when Big E said he was going solo, and that was at the same time when the Jeff Hardy Sheamus feud ended. And that opened up the possibility of the two of them fighting. I've been looking forward to it. Very disappointing. Hugely disappointing. I can't give any recognition to this fight at all, especially how it ended with a distraction too, something that doesn't do service to Big E or this matchup at all. This fight was disappointing in every right, except we got to see Corbin slamming Matt Riddle into the stairs randomly.
No reason.
Yeah, Biggie can always win next week. And then after that we have Cesaro and Shinsuke versus Lucha House Party. Great fight. Like I said, I feel bad for Grand Metalik, but Cesaro recovered. He pulled through for him. And how did this fight end? It wasn't a distraction, right? It was just a good old pin.
Essentially, it was my notes for tonight not loading. Because that's not my notes for tonight. Good lord. Yeah, no, essentially it was basically there was one distraction, but that was the one where Grand Metalik tried his third bad move. But Cesaro reversed a move and on Lindsay to get the win, if you will.
Yeah, and the match also gave it's starting a nice storyline for Lucha House Party. It's giving a little bit more personality to them, especially with Kalisto now being mad at them. And then you have Cesaro and Shinsuke still being the tag team champs. I think this match was great, one of the better ones tonight. And then after that we move into the Beat the Clock challenge, which I liked this concept a lot. I thought it worked really well here. I liked both of these matches. I don't know if we can consider them one or if we're doing them separate. What do you think? We consider these two the same?
We do it as one.
One? Okay.
I do it as one.
Because at the end of the day, it was Sasha versus Bayley. So yeah, I think this was a great match. I think it's giving a lot more progress to Bayley and Sasha's story. And having Naomi win at the end, I think I think this is a good foreshadowing of Asuka's run at SummerSlam. Because at first Naomi was pinned in the first fight, was like all tired out and everything all week, and then she pulled the incredible win off of Bayley, which I think we might see from Asuka, losing to Bayley and then looking weak, but then pulling through and beating Sasha. I just don't know why Naomi was the one to come out there. Weird, but you know, we got to see some more progress in the story. The match itself wasn't bad. And then finally after that we have AJ Styles versus Jeff Hardy, the two old men fighting over a packet of hot sauce at Taco Bell. God, it's so hard to think of like good things about this fight. Even just before the fight even started, it started bad. How they had Jeff Hardy start with an injury. I don't know why they had him start with an injury and still win. You could have just as easily had no injury happen. Have Jeff Hardy just beat AJ Styles. AJ Styles get mad. Want a rematch because I assume that's what's going to happen. And everything's still like would have the same outcome. I was not convinced at all of Jeff Hardy's injury. He didn't pull it off well, which gives another reason why they should have just had him not injured. AJ was not looking hot either. So I can't think of a single good thing about this fight. I also think AJ lost the title too soon. He should have held on to it for a little longer. Especially since he's supposed to be like one of the best in SmackDown right now. They essentially just gave it to the guy who has a little more tenure, I think.
They want to keep him around.
Yeah, it's dumb. It's shoehorned. AJ definitely deserves to get it back at Payback. And the fact that it is 2 days before, like Milam said, 2 days before the second biggest pay-per-view of the year. So that fight's definitely towards the bottom of the night for me. But if I were to give the fight of the night to one match, it would be the match between Cesaro and Shinsuke and Lucha House Party. Because although the Beat the Clock match were great, there's still a lot of confusion. Like, why was Naomi there? And whereas the tag team match didn't really have as many confusions, both were great. One was just a bit better. Oh yeah, I was swerving you guys.
I almost just fell out of my chair.
I saw that. You were graceful.
It hurt my back a little bit, but I just want to say, not only is this a great choice by you, because that's what I was going to choose, which makes it a great choice. However, also, we now have like a potential for storyline, tag team. Isn't Bailey and Sasha?
What?
Question mark?
What?
Qua? Yeah, no, I really enjoyed it. I really like, as much as I don't want to see Lucha House Party disband in any respect, but I also feel like, who cares?
Don't think they'll disband.
And by what I mean, when I say who cares, I mean, that's probably what like Vince is thinking at the end of the day. Like,
can I jump in real quick? During this podcast, an hour ago, I hopped on Instagram real quick and saw a post from Lindsay Dorado saying he still has love for Kalisto.
I hope they hug. I just want them to snuggle. That's all. But yeah, no, I really enjoyed it. I really liked that we're getting some more tag storyline, because we've been getting some storyline from Cesaro and Shinsuke, but it's mostly like surface level.
Mm-hmm.
I really liked seeing something kind of deeper, I guess. So yeah, I 100% go for it. Even if Grand Metalik botched like 3 moves, maybe 2. The first one, I don't know, but next 2.
First one was definitely botched.
I'm also voting for this in hopes that one day I'll see Lindsay Dorado without a mask on. I just need to know what he looks like. I'm very curious. That's all.
So, prediction time. So do you want to start with my extra prediction that I threw in?
Whoa. No, run back the best of the nights.
Run it back.
And then I got something to say, and then we go to predictions.
Okay. So, our promo of the night. Sonya ups the stakes, ups the ante. Fighter of the night. Cesaro, the Swiss cyborg, Jason Statham's son. Fight of the night. Cesaro and Shinsuke Nakamura versus Lucha House Party.
All right. So we are about to head into our predictions. As we head into our predictions, I also just want to make a note that, as I have mentioned before, and as I will continue to mention until I go blue in the face, next week's Friday night podcast, next week's Smackdown podcast, will be our final podcast of the night that is not of the month that is not a pay-per-view. In that vein, as I mentioned prior, we are going to make our final podcasts of the month promo podcasts. So, if you have something you want to promo, whether it be your thing, whether it be a thing that a friend does, let us know. DM us. There's so many ways to contact us in any literal form. And give us some details. We can either give us a link, we can figure out the details on our own, give us some details that other people want us to say. Because we've gotten a lot of really helpful promotions, promos. Promotion sounds so like serious. We've gotten a lot of helpful promos from a lot of you guys who've watched us, and it means a lot to us. We kind of want to share that love. In that same vein, though, there are some people, and you probably know who you are, who have helped us along the way, who have been like really, really amazing. And I will almost 100% promote your shit unless you tell me not to, which you can also do. Because I personally know from a personal standpoint that sometimes it is hard to be like, hey, do me. But if you don't want me to, I won't. I'm sure you probably know who I'm talking about specifically. But I do want to just kind of share the love from everyone who's been so helpful to our podcast and so just beyond wonderful, especially Mike and Milam. You guys have been so great. Everyone's been in the chat, everyone that's followed us. We just want to be able to share that love and spotlight, I guess. So we're trying to do once a month. I don't care if we do the same person every month or multiple of the same people every month. I just really want to be able to use this as a way to also be like, hey, check out these cool folks. There's some people that I'm already considering doing. So please let me know if you have anyone that you want promoted, if you want your stuff promoted. Let me or Mark or literally just go to our Pinfall Twitter and let us know or whatever.
Can they let us know?
By the DM button.
On our personal Twitters?
I said on our personal Twitters or the podcast Twitter. You want to do that now?
If you go to our Twitters at the Mark Cameron or at Eliza Elaine 23, you can DM us who you want to have promoted for the end of the month podcast.
We're gonna do multiple people, so it doesn't have to be like I think this is the best person or anything like that. We'll do multiple people. I'll make sure I have all the pertinent details. Yeah. So either DM us on our personal Twitters or on the Twitter for the podcast.
So, predictions?
Now that I've had that heart-to-heart with y'all, I'm still using the same prediction sign from Wednesday.
So, we have to make one more NXT TakeOver prediction because it came in after the podcast was up. And I bet Liz didn't make that prediction, but I will give my...
Oh, I just didn't think about it.
Well, I will give my thoughts on it first. The match is Finn Balor versus Timothy Thatcher. And I think Finn Balor will win because it's not a main event match, and Finn Balor loses all of his main event matches. Those are the matches he loses, and luckily this is not going to be one of them.
Alright, so the problem here is that I have to vote against my two sons. One being Phineas Balor and one being Tim Tam Thatchy Thatch. So it hurts. It hurts. I feel like I've got to choose my favorite boy in front of their faces, even though neither of them know that this exists. But I have complained about Finn not getting enough wins. I have complained very vocally and very consistently. So, as I said, for NXT, I am making decisions that I will die on the hill with. Because it's Saturday and I don't have to go to work Sunday. So I suppose I will be dying on this hill as well. Because one way or another, Tim Tam Thatcher is going to stay angry, and he's going to continue to have an unsanctioned murder. Unsanctioned murder time. So I am voting for Phineas. Okay. He's my boy. I just want to see him win a match again since last takeover. Asked for very little in this life.
Now for SummerSlam predictions. Do you want?
Right, so let me run us through them.
Well, do you want me to start with a prediction that I threw in first? It's one that we can think about for a little second.
All right, throw in your prediction, or throw in your subject for the prediction, and then we'll deal with that when I deem it to be time.
All right. When do you think Retribution will show up? During what fight?
Oh,
I know exactly what fight I think it'll show up in.
Oh my god, okay. While we mull that over, I'm gonna start with our the predicted match that's supposed to happen, which is Matt Riddle versus King Corbin. Marcus, what is your vote?
I'm going with Corbin on this. He hasn't gotten a win in a while. He's definitely due for one. And I don't think they're ready to squash the storyline yet, which Matt Riddle winning would squash it. I definitely think they want to continue it a little longer, especially after Corbin attacked Riddle tonight.
I'm just noticing all the wrinkles in this because I stepped on it while I was trying to get something from the drawer. I voted for Matt Riddle because Matt Riddle is teacher's pet right now, and it seems like that ain't.
Yep.
I love talking. That ain't ending anytime soon. How many vowels? Sorry. I just don't. I mean, he was given a title shot within like 2 weeks of him coming out, and Corbin seems to be the SmackDown Finn Balor right now. So I feel like it's gonna be Matt. I assume this has potential to happen during the pre-show. Because it's so like,
yeah, I can see that.
And I assume you got because Mark ran us through all the matches. I assume you got all of these matches from CBS Sports, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Normally, their predictions for potential matches end up coming true. So I believe we will see this. I believe it will either be pre-show or first match. That being said, let's go into... I'm going to go bottom to top here. Let's do Sonya versus Mandy first.
Okay.
The I Quit match.
So, I think Mandy's gonna win. Mostly because this has nothing to do with wrestling at all. I think because Mandy just got her hair cut, and she wouldn't want to go bald. This was before the extra stipulation was thrown in. Plus, Sonya just went through a whole traumatic incident, which more than likely caused the stipulation to be thought of in the first place. Plus, you can't really... Mandy has an ongoing storyline with Otis right now. It would be weird for them to just kind of kick her out and just say, alright, I think Sonya's gonna take the L. She's gonna go on a little break. Maybe there's also the possibility of Otis giving his briefcase to keep Mandy in if she loses, but I'm sticking with Mandy wins on this.
So, in light of that, my prediction is Sonya. Mostly because I had one match that I was going to choose to die on a hill, and it's going to be Sonya's hill. It is always Sonya's hill. I love her so much. As you can imagine, that may have affected other fights that I predicted. It's fine. Anyways, so my thought process here is more so Mandy's storyline right now is kind of a dead end. What's she gonna do? Flirt with Otis for the rest of her WWE career? Or do something? And so far, since nothing else has been brought up, and Sonya is 100% flying solo now that Dolph and Robert Roode are gone, I feel like there's a potential for, if she were to win, especially because she said she doesn't care if she's bald, I feel like there's a potential for her to win and then become, now that like their tag team is broken up, become a solo fighter that's worth her skin, because we've seen her fight and she's really good.
Mm-hmm.
I've always enjoyed watching her fight, and I think she, in some ways, and I'm not meaning this very literally, but like in some ways she could be kind of like the Shayna Baszler, like the dark horse of SmackDown. Um, she doesn't have the same thing that like Dana Brooke has. She doesn't have the same Carmella thing. Bailey and Sasha don't have quite that same thing either, but like they're tag teaming, so it doesn't count.
Yeah.
Alexa and Nikki are still, Nikki's a little crazy, but like Nikki's still relatively, and I don't want to mean this like in a harsh way, but like she's relatively feminine still. I guess in my eyes, I don't know, but I just feel like there's a lot of room for SmackDown to impact their women's single division by adding in Sonya as a singles player, because it doesn't seem like Mandy, who's been kind of around to fight whenever she wants to, has been around more than Sonya has. It doesn't really seem like Mandy's got any interest in actually fighting right now. But I feel like there's more possibilities for Sonya. I also don't want to have to watch SmackDown without her. Now that Dolph is gone.
Mm-hmm.
That's me. This is another match that we differ on. That's two matches that we differ on. The next one I'm going to bring up is one that I don't believe we do, which is Apollo versus MVP.
I'm going Apollo.
I am too. I can't, in my right mind, vote for MVP for anything. I don't care if it's who's most likely to be named MVP.
Look, after MVP's stunt at Extreme Rules, where Apollo didn't show up and MVP basically took the title for himself without like any match, they're not going to give it to him. It's gonna go to Apollo. Maybe Payback something, but definitely Apollo for SummerSlam.
I'm looking at the chat, and I definitely think that what Mike's saying here, Apollo versus Lashley at Payback, sounds really cool. Plus, actually, Mike, you bring on another point that is important to make, which is what we talked about Wednesday with Cedric's tweet. I think we're going to see something from him at either Raw or Payback sometime soon, where he kind of just ultimate heals himself, where he's like against everyone. I could definitely see that coming to light in Payback.
Mm-hmm.
So, another thing that I believe we agree on. So we've got one thing we agree on, two things that we don't. I think we agree on this. So, Street Profits versus Andrade and Angel.
Street Profits. After their stunt with poisoning Montez, there's no way they're winning. There's no way.
If this were a bigger fight, if this had more weight to it, I might be willing to be like, oh, I don't know, Andrade and Angel could possibly do something. But it's a tag fight. This is something that we've seen a lot. It doesn't carry too much harumph to it. Normally if a fight's like heavily weighted, where it's like, oh shit, like this means something, I'm like, yeah, this guy definitely like won the last 3 matches, but he also could win this.
Mm-hmm.
But with this fight, I don't feel like there's that much like pulling on it. I don't think that there's that much to go behind it. I think that what's going to come out is the good guys win. Point blank. That's it. Street Profits. And I think rightfully so. I think that we need to see. Maybe this is just my chaotic side. Maybe it's because it's Leo season. I just want to see the world burn. I think we're ready to see Andrade and Angel break up.
I was thinking the opposite. I was saying I think we're ready for them to win something. Not this match.
You voted
Just
for
in
them
general.
to lose.
No, I'm said not this match. Just something.
Oh, okay.
I want them to win matches. You know, they've been hot garbage. They've had terrible bookings. They need better for them.
But can I posit something to you? The idea of Andrade versus Angel, the fight, sounds so good.
It sounds like Angel versus Umberto at what was it?
Superstar Showdown.
Yeah, that's it.
Yeah. I think right now the problem is mostly that Raw doesn't have a ton of male tag teams outside of Street Profits, Viking Raiders, and Andrade and Angel.
Mm-hmm.
I guess Seth and Buddy, if you want to call it that. So I don't think that they're very keen on breaking them up right now, but it kind of does excite me to see them going off on singles matches, because I know Andrade and Drew have fought before. It was a really good fight. I know Angel Garza is really talented. I think that would open up Zelina to also start fighting again, which it seems like she might be interested in doing, considering her fight with Bianca.
Mm-hmm.
I just think that them breaking up offers more potential, not only for storyline preceding the breakup, but also offers more potential for the 3 factions of that team to go on and enhance the singles experience in a way that Rey Mysterio might not be able to anymore because he's getting older and it's harder for him to like consistently fight.
Mm-hmm.
You know? I got plans. I'm just saying. Oh man. Dreams, baby. I got dreams.
You got too many.
I just want to see Angel Garza grow. I know. That's what I get for watching this show so much. So I'm going to go into a fight. The next 2, I'm reconsidering my next 2 after this. Think of a match that requires 2 people separately. I'll start it when we get to there, so you know what I'm talking about before you nail in your vote. So the matchup we're going to talk about right now, though, is Seth Rollins versus Dominic. What's your plan?
As much as it pains me, Dominic, this is where they're going to cap off that storyline. You're going to have the face win, and they made the stipulation for Dominic to be able to win. They're going to debut his gear. They're going to debut his mask because he's going in Luchador. And he's probably going to get help from somewhere. Probably Samoa Joe. Because I think that would be legal or something. I think this is all Dominic.
So I actually decided to die in 2 hills tonight instead of one very, 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 very large hill. We'll talk about that when we get there. I chose Seth Rollins. If I have to see Dominic win a fight, I'm sorry. I'm gonna have to drink. It's gonna break me on the inside. I cannot stand him, and is he our age or is he younger?
He's our age.
Is he your age or is he my age? Okay, so he's younger than me. That being said, I think that he's weak. I came to this earth before him. I can say this. If all you can do is a 619 and hit people with kendo sticks, you don't deserve to win a Big 4 pay-per-view event. That's what I'm saying. I'm choosing Seth Rollins because if I have to see Dominic win this fight, I'm going to end up drinking anyways.
Need I remind you that Pat McAfee is also wrestling?
And how did I vote in that match, Marcus?
You vote for Pat McAfee.
I vote for the person.
Oh, you voted for Bobby Fish. Right.
I voted for Adam. First of all, I voted for the person who deserved to win the match, which was Bobby Fish. No, I'm kidding. I voted for Adam. But that being said, just I can't in good faith, in the same way with the MVP fight, I can't in good faith vote for Dominic. I just can't.
Yeah.
It destroys me. Essentially, it sounds like I would rather see Rick Buggs doing this. I'm gonna go on to the next two matches.
Yep.
Unless you have anything else to say.
Nope.
Alright, I'm going on to the next two matches. You have a chance, as I say my vote, to change yours, okay?
Okay.
I don't know if you know exactly what I'm talking about. I assume you do, though.
I assume you mean both of Asuka's matches.
Right.
Okay.
Mark and I don't consider them nailed in until we tell you guys, so...
Well...
For Bayley versus Asuka, I've chosen Asuka.
Okay. What's your reasoning?
Because that's the first match. I assume... it'll go well. I don't know. I thought you were changing your vote, dude.
I'm
God,
not.
now I feel weird.
I'm picking Bayley for that fight. I think we're gonna see.
Drink so much. I have a meeting at 8:30. Dang it!
I think we're gonna see exactly what we saw with Naomi. How Naomi lost the first fight, and then won the second fight. That's exactly what we're gonna see. And plus, Asuka is Raw. It makes more sense for her to win the Raw title. As stupid as that sounds.
I want to change my vote because I didn't think about any of this. I just... any chance I could rescind my vote for a drink now?
Well, you only told us that Bayley would win. You didn't tell us anything about Sasha versus Asuka.
Great, but can I drink now and just change my vote?
No. Locked in, baby.
I don't want to be locked in. I gave you a chance.
I hadn't said my predictions yet.
Fine. I gave you one chance. Never again. Now I remember. To trifle with a trifling bitch.
We have rules for a reason.
Versus Asuka. I'm choosing Asuka.
For Sasha versus Asuka?
Yeah, I'm doing damage control here.
So you think... What, you said Asuka's gonna win both?
Yeah, because I'm doing damage control because I assume she's gonna win one.
Okay. Alright.
And since you won't let me rescind my vote for a drink, then I have to choose both of them.
Okay. Plus, they're entirely setting up for Asuka versus Shayna. That is what they're setting up for.
Yes, I get it now, Mark. I didn't get it when I wrote all this down. And now I'm locked in, even though I offered you a drink in response. But it's fine. I'm just going to be locked in. I'll take one drink over two. Rumph. Oh, God. Anyways, let's go on to Braun versus The Fiend.
I'm picking Fiend.
You're a fool. Actually, I don't... I feel like I've been, like, transplanted into, like, trigonometry class. I don't know what's going on with this storyline. I've chosen Braun. I'm hoping it's, like, real Braun that wins, though. Nega Braun.
Well, let me
Franken Braun, if you will.
Let me pitch you something. Fiend wins. John Cena comes back. John Cena challenges Fiend for the title. John Cena wins and is now back as the Universal Champion.
I just want everyone to know that if there are rumors of John Cena coming back, every time somebody is introduced, I'm going to have Mark film it so that he can get my live reaction to hearing John Cena's theme song just one more time. Because if there is one thing that will give me serotonin again, it is absolutely that. I cannot wait to hear that again.
And then Goldberg comes in and takes the title from John Cena.
Does John Cena have a title? No, he doesn't.
No, he takes the Universal title after he beats The Fiend.
I get you.
And then Roman Reigns comes in and takes the title from Goldberg.
What are they going to do when they spear each other and like their heads bump?
The younger one survives.
Fair. Alright, speaking of the younger one. Not really. I think they're about the same age now.
So...
Drew McIntyre versus Randy Orton.
So, we disagree again on this. I'm going Drew McIntyre. Because I am a real Drew McIntyre stan. No. I mean, there's multiple reasons for this. You look at the stats. Drew has won 12... And WWE has made a point to point this out too. Drew has won 12 matches, lost 1 this year. Randy, meanwhile... I'll open up my laptop again. Randy has won 7 and lost 4. I think Drew wins, and they're waiting to take it away from him when they can introduce a bigger star, take it from him in front of a crowd. I think Orton may win it at Payback. I don't think Orton's going to win at SummerSlam.
I just want everyone to know that I've been very sensitive today, and Mark's just hurt my feelings more than he could ever imagine. Anywho. So, I will be voting against myself come Sunday.
And you said you were dying on all your hills.
This is the one hill I cannot die on, Mark. I have faith in a couple of other hills. This is the one hill that I'm like, it could go either way. I have a meeting at 8:30 in the morning on Monday, so I have to be a person. That being said, now that my feelings have been hurt, I will be voting against myself. I will be voting for that hangover Monday morning.
One real reminder to everybody. Real quick reminder. We never explained this before we started the predictions, but for every incorrect prediction that we have, we will take a drink or something, shots, whatever. We'll figure something out.
Bam. NXT shots. Takeover or SummerSlam. I personally will be taking a drink of a cocktail every single time because again, I have things to do Monday. If Mark wants to do shots, that is on him. That is his life. I am not judging that.
I'll probably do half shots. I think that's a good medium.
I'm this way. I will not because I am a small person. Anywho.
I'm also confident in all of my predictions.
Yeah, that's absolutely stellar for you. I'm so happy for you tonight. I'm not confident. I don't want to be confident. I predicted that Randy Orton would win. Because everything recently has been pointing in the direction of Randy Orton winning. Except for the promos. And it's hard for me to contest the promos with the rumors that have been spread around at least once every 2 days in different formats. Because I'm the one that does the news and I'm the one that sees all the headlines that are like, this is how Randy Orton's going to win at SummerSlam, and this is how Randy Orton's going to do this at WrestleMania with his title that he won at SummerSlam. Oh. It hurts. I want to be wrong. I want to drink to this. I do. I really do. There's no part of me that does not want to drink to this. I will come through. Mr. Ladybug, please calm down up there. I will come through Sunday night with my Drew McIntyre shirt on, pressed, folded, cleaned. I will be wearing it. I believe in him and I love him.
Okay.
But I can't, I don't know, man. I don't feel like I'm wrong on this one. And it's going to hurt me one way or the other. And if Randy Orton wins, I'm going to drink. And if Drew wins, I'm going to drink out of happiness. I'm going to feel like a horrible person. And then I'm going to have to pick him for my fighter of the night for the next 14 weeks. So that's on you. I just want you to know that.
So you want to move into the last prediction? It's the one I mentioned first about where Retribution will show up.
Oh, yeah.
Yep. Rockin'.
Where do you think they're going to show up? I haven't really been able to think about this.
I think for sure they will show up during the Mandy Sonya fight. Because that
You
is...
think?
It's a career-ending fight. I think there's going to be someone stopping from someone's career ending, and I think it's going to be Retribution coming in. And I mean, the corniest thing they could do is have them kind of team up against Retribution, then kind of go into like, oh, we're best friends again, even though that's corny as shit. The best thing they could do is just have Retribution like attack them, because that's all they do. They just attack randomly. The two of them fight them off. And plus, where's the best place for them to show up besides a no disqualification match? That's my prediction. I didn't write it down. But.
I normally feel like it would be at the opening or the closing, but I feel like the Randy Drew match is almost too important for them to do it at the closing, and I feel like pay-per-view is too long for them to do it at the opening. Let's see. Let me see real quick. What we got here? I don't feel confident enough to make a judgment here. Aside from, like, I feel like they'll either come in through halfway through the match or the second to last match. That's all I can really offer you as far as a prediction. Specifically, I think the best place for them to show up as far as affecting an outcome is Braun versus The Fiend or Apollo versus MVP, because MVP has had so much shit to say about them. And we just saw Braun versus The Fiend with Retribution. So I want to give you a real prediction here, and I don't know if I can.
Okay.
I will take your prediction, as I almost always do with any of your extraneous predictions during pay-per-views.
So, now that we've made all of our predictions, right. the maximum number of drinks for you, or shots for me, half shots for me, is 10. For SummerSlam, for TakeOver, it would be 6.
6. Okay. And realistically, the only chances that you have to get on, to, I don't want to go with this, to get over on me is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. There's 7 opportunities, including potential predictions for when Retribution will come out. So 7 total predictions, including that. 6 if you're just including matches.
And who won Extreme Rules predictions?
Me. By like 1.
I'm hoping to have another Street Profits and Viking Raiders team up prediction.
Dude, I was fighting for my life after Backlash. I was like, I need to get this right.
Alright, so you want to close out? Or do you have anything else to say?
You do the best closeouts. You do all the Twitter words. Oh wait, no, I do have a thing to say though, right? So join us
tomorrow.
Not what I was gonna say. Join us Saturday, aka tomorrow, if that's what you want to call it. Anyways, on August 22nd, the day before my lucky day. 8/23 are my lucky numbers, so August 23rd, I better be right about almost all of, not all of, maybe minus. I better be happy with the way that SummerSlam ends, because that's my lucky day, and if I'm not, I'm going to be real sad. Anyways, so join us tomorrow. We are going to be broadcasting probably, I imagine, NXT will end around 9:30, 10-ish. It starts at 6:30 with the pre-show, 7 with the full show. So I really do think that after Takeover in your house, it'll probably end around 9:30, 10. Join us then. We will be here, like always, doing the same show you should expect. And then after that, literally 24 hours later, you can probably join us here again for SummerSlam. And then just about 24 hours after that, you can join us here again for Raw. It doesn't end. It doesn't end.
And then we have a pay-per-view.
When I wasn't employed, this was very exciting. And now that I am employed, this is very stressful.
And then we have a pay-per-view the following weekend. So shall I close this out?
Bring us home, brother.
Alright, so first off, thank you for watching. If you enjoyed, please hit that follow button below and hit the little bell so you can be notified whenever we go live. And follow us on Twitter so A, you guys will know when we go live, and B, if you miss a podcast, we also post what our fighter and fight of the nights are for that night. Tonight it's Cesaro and Shinsuke versus Lucha House Party. What was that?
I have something to say right before we end this, so don't sign off the moment Mark says thanks or something.
And the Twitter handle is at the Pinfall Cast. Follow our personal Twitters, which are already shouted out. I'm at the Mark Cameron. Liz is at ElizaElaine23. And follow my personal Twitch, markcameron.live. Super simple, and you can pick up a nice UPF tank top, get it before the summer ends. They're not expensive. They only last for 3 more weeks, so get them while they're around. You can buy.
Yeah, I don't have one.
And
Confusing.
We also make films. I never shot that out. I don't know why I don't. Verismo Productions on YouTube. Go there and check out all of the cool short films we've done. We make everything from horror, comedy, drama, everything. Go check it out.
Horror comedy.
Verismo Productions. And and if you missed
if you check out Ghost Boys and you watch it, I wrote that.
Yes, Liz wrote and directed Ghost Boys.
I was very drunk when I wrote it though, so.
And if you missed part of this podcast or want to go check out previous podcasts, go to our YouTube. If you search the Pinfall Podcast, we'll be right there with all of our episodes, minus a couple because, you know, sometimes either my computer sucks or we're too drunk or, you know, stuff happens. And that's it. Liz?
Hi. I just want to give a quick shout out, and I will make a more in-depth shout out come next Friday because I want to save my best shout outs for our shout out podcast on Friday. But I do just want to make a quick note to I like to call this spotlight that you probably don't want to be in. Because personally I probably feel like but I just want to give a quick shout out to Milam. The article you wrote, literally, I was having the worst day of my life. I cried for at least 2 hours straight because work is fun. And then Mark came into my room while I was working and was like, "Have you seen this?" you showed me your article, and it made everything so much better. Thank you so much. It meant like the world to me. I know it meant a lot to Mark too. So thank you so much. And I just want to again reiterate, as I do probably too often for the end of a podcast, but I don't care. I just want to reiterate, thank you guys so much for being in the chat. Thank you guys so much for watching. The interaction makes it so much more enjoyable for us because Mark and I live together. We can literally do this, sit on the couch together and talk about this stuff face to face, and it wouldn't matter. But the addition of everybody in the chat is so much, makes it so much more fun and so much more interactive. And as much as Mark makes you guys mad, especially you, Splucha, I'm looking at you, because he...
Aaliyah sucks.
Wow. Okay, so I'm going to keep going. I'm going to try to make this nice. But it makes it so much more fun when I get to like put on my glasses and actually read the chat when we go through the fighter of the night, and I get to see everybody's reactions. So I really appreciate it, guys. I know Mark does too, and I'm just very thankful that you're all here to enjoy Marcus's rude comments.
Not for long.
Oh God, I'm just trying to be nice. Thank you so much for watching and talking to us. I am so sorry that Marcus tends to be so contrary.
Don't forget to pick up a UPF tank top at markcameron.live.
He insults you and then shills himself out. Lord have mercy.
They come in white, black, and gray. Thanks for watching, everybody. We'll see you tomorrow for NXT TakeOver 30.
Come back tomorrow. I'll be just as drinking. I'm going to be drinking tomorrow, too. I forget I have a career now.
Yep. I don't. Goodbye.
Oh, God.